So now that we have now established the need that society is segregated and things like that, we're now going to talk about two men, three really, who wanted to solve the problem. Now the first two men actually wanted to bring the societies together. The third one believed in a separate but equal. He actually agreed with the KKK, but we'll get into him lastly, alright? He didn't agree with the KKK. He was very similar in the fact that they had to be separated, alright? Now, the two men I am talking about are Booker T. Washington and W.B. Du Bois. Alright, so this is Mr. Booker T. Washington. He was a farmer in the southern states, and he believed the key to getting what they wanted, equal rights, was through vocational training and gradualism. And so for him, I want you to put that African Americans would achieve civil rights through gradualism and vocational training. He wrote many things. He was loved in the South because he actually is giving the white people that don't like this a chance to keep it going, because they could say, hey, gradually, you're doing what you're supposed to do. So let's understand what gradualism is. A big, majestic tree does not just, become a big, majestic tree. It starts out as a little, tiny plant, and you have to nourish it, and it grows over time, right? So gradualism is a step-by-step process of getting something. In this case, civil rights. We're going to take a while in getting civil rights, correct? And so you can see how white plantation owners would like this. Oh yeah, we'll give it to you in 5, 10 years down the road. 5, 10 years, come on. Well, we're getting somewhere. Maybe we need about 10 years more. And so you can see how they can push this. Now, the second thing he advocated was called vocational training. This is the CTC, which moved to the other building, or anything like that. Vocational training is job training. This is auto repair. This is shop. This is something that requires you more or less to use a skill rather than textbook knowledge. And so basically he gave a speech in which he said, cast down your bucket where you are. In other words, learn a skill, do it, and gradually over time we'll get that. And so white Southerners loved Booker T. Washington, even though maybe they didn't understand his concept. Now, he went as far as to even set up an institute in Alabama for black people to go learn skills, a vocational institute that became known as Tuskegee Institute. This is the same Tuskegee Institute where the Tuskegee Airmen, aka the Red Tails, learned how to fly planes in World War II. And so there it is. You have Booker T. Washington with gradualism, vocational training, and the Tuskegee Institute. Okay? Now, in his writings and everything like that, there popped up a critic. His name is W.E.B. Du Bois. He was very critical of Mr. Washington. He said, yes, we want equal rights, but you are going about it the wrong way, and it's never going to happen. And so for him, I want you to get African Americans get civil rights through higher education and through the law system. He thought that if we educated African Americans enough and they went and fought legal battles, separate but equal would die. Not gradually, but immediately. And so he has to go and he will set up 2 organizations, help set up 2 organizations, and then he'll do this. He's also the first African American to attend Harvard and get a law degree there. So that's pretty prestigious. You can tell he's from the North and not from the South. Okay? Now, the first organization he set up was called the Niagara Movement, because of Niagara Falls. All right. Now, if you notice, they're actually on the Canadian side. The reason is, you notice there are whites and blacks meeting together here, and so that was very taboo in a separatist society. Here is Mr. Du Bois in the middle. Correct. So the Niagara Movement, the whole idea of the Niagara Movement was to get white and black cultures talking about racial issues and how to solve them. And so that's what they did. They talked about separate equal, how to fix it, etc. Out of the Niagara Movement is born the second one that is still around today. We call it the NAACP, but I would like you to get what it stands for. NAACP stands for National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Now, it was founded in 1909, and here is Du Bois. He's a founding member. Here's Miss Ida Wells Barnett we talked about. Now, some other things pop up. 1, 2, 3, for white people in the NAACP. And this is a major thing going on, correct? Not all white people are members of the KKK and don't understand these things. Some of them actually understood separate but equal was bad. And so a lot of people don't want to necessarily understand that. So what is the NAACP? You have National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, correct? The second thing I'd like you to get is they are actually going to use the court systems to prove separate but equal and Jim Crow unconstitutional. That's what they want to do. And now the really interesting thing is it's a gradualism process. It's not going to happen overnight. Now, an interesting story came out this summer, and I want to show this to you if you will. Here's NAACP logo first, and you can see the scales, right? That's the law system, and then the Constitution is supposed to be that. It had to do with this woman here. Her name is Rachel Dolezal. She was a president of an NAACP chapter in Seattle. Now, the interesting thing that occurred was maybe reverse, and remember who was there. It came out that her parents were white, and she herself is white, and she wanted to be black to be in this organization. Now, she has since been kicked out of the NAACP chapter up there for pretending to be something that she's not, and so I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this. Do you agree with this? And going back in the fact that NAACP was set up with white people actually on the board, do you think they should have done this to her? Why or why not? And keep this in context of what the history said, not just necessarily what's going on. What I want you to do here are two things. I want you to compare Washington and Du Bois. What do they have in common? What do they not have in common? And then lastly, explain the methods and goals of the NAACP. We have one last little interesting dude to talk about, and he is my favorite one.